it has been an incredible conference because I've been feeling very lonely for several years studying failure. Finally, all the colleagues filled up this room. So I feel very fortunate. And so I've been thinking about throughout our lives, from the beginning of our lives, when we start to try to learn walk, we fail. And then we try to learn how to eat. It's a struggle. And then we got an F. We don't want to tell our parents. And we don't know what to do. And then here it's getting worse, college rejected. And then you're rejected by your girlfriend. And then the next one is your paper got rejected. And then you're fired. So I am giving you a very sad picture about life. But really, this is life. I have experienced all of that. But I've been searching for courses and thinking about what can I do? Every day I'm asking, what can I do? But there's no course from K to 12 to college on what shall I do? So that's where I think probably the education about failure, especially how to conceptualize failure, how to prepare for that, might be one of the most important power for education. But that has not been utilized. So that's where I'm so passionate about this. And so in my today's talk, I'm going to talk about two issues. One is why do we need this failure education? And the second of all, can we do it? And so I want to show you in a case how we have done that, but I'm sure there are many, many ways that we can do it. Is microphone working okay here? Okay. So, everybody has seen this picture, right? The leaking pipe of the STEM field. So at the beginning, we have lots of people interested in STEM, especially in science. When I talk to the science professors and whatever, they have lots of people at Introduction to Biology 101. But by the fourth year, the biology class become 5 people, 6 people, 7 people. By the time they graduate, we have even fewer. So we lost about 80% of students. So that's a severe problem for the United States and also for China now, because the life is getting better. No one wants to suffer. So they all want to have an easy life. As a result, STEM field is getting less and less attractive. But when I went to college in China, if you go to STEM field, you're viewed as a genius. And today, if you go to STEM field, maybe you're viewed as an idiot. Because who wants to suffer? And so I went to a high school we work with a lot of high school locally. So I just walk on the hallway, pick up some kids, and say, hey, if you think about scientists, what are the 3 words come to your mind? Here's what this person said. Smart, famous. See, if I could, the sound is not here. Let me see if I can put a microphone there, okay. Can you do it? Okay. How can I? The sound will be important for my talk, so. My sound is here. Is that good? Okay.
Smart, famous, research.
That's what he said. Smart.
Research, lab coats, genius.
I said, just tell me 3 words when you think about scientists.
Brilliant, cold, logical.
So, do you think this field is attractive? I don't think I want to enter that field if I know that's the kind of people I'll be colleagues with. But then when I really talk to the scientists, they're not at all like that. They're all very excited, like a steward, They're exciting to talk to. I asked my grad student last year, I had a steward, the only real scientist to my psychology seminar. I said, who's the best speaker? Who's most exciting? Everybody raised their hand, steward! But that does not appear in the high school. And so Then we went through this vicious cycle. The students think about, if you're a genius, you really don't need to work hard. If you have to fail, you're absolutely not genius. Even you have to work hard, you're absolutely idiot. So this becomes a very bad cycle. So if I have to work hard, if I fail, I'm not fit into this field. So you hear a lot of a conversation like that. And you know that Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset, that teaching students about your brain growth so you can always work hard. And so it has been popularized all the DOE, the Department of Education in New York City. So I went there, I interviewed kids several months ago. I said, so what kind of people can be a scientist? They said, everybody. As long as you work hard, you can be. And I was thinking, wow, Carol would love to hear that, and I love to hear that too. So I said, let me poke a little bit further. I said, do you think you can be a scientist? And several kids said, no, not me, it's other people. I said, you just said everyone can be, but why not you? And they said, right now my grade is F, so I can't do it. So that kind of thinking, conceptualization about failure, about not doing well, is deeply rooted in their thinking about what they can do, what they cannot do. So that's why I think this failure education is so important and so timely. So, and then where does this problem coming from? I've been looking at, just Google the internet. You look at these genius, and the scientist genius, and as soon as you touch the word genius, you don't have to work hard and you don't have to fail. So I went to a textbook. Just flip over textbook in the high school during my experiment. It is said that Einstein is unlike anybody else. So it's untouchable. So these people are really untouchable people. So I try to do a study to see how I can move these people, God figure, into the level that students can even look at them, okay? And so how would I do that? We were exposing students to Einstein's struggle stories, or Marie Curie, or other people, and Thomas Edison and stuff like that. And so I have been looking for stories. I talked to Scholastic, and they said there are truly not many children books on how scientists fail, or anybody fail per se. There's just a few books on some people, not necessarily scientists. So they said that might be a great market. I said, okay. So I did research on that, so we developed our own stories. And so I think about exposing students to the story, and it's nothing special. This is 1,000 years of a trick, telling stories. But I think that a lot of students found that fascinating in the high school to listen to stories, because they said kindergarten you listen to stories, but after 5th grade you usually don't listen to stories, especially in science class. Okay, you're all about science and the hard concepts and the boring and the web code and all that stuff. So we want to bring in the humanity and the emotions into the science classroom. And so we did that, and why struggle stories? So I also think that the struggle really, I have some personal experiences about how when I tell struggle stories that connect people, because I came from China directly to Louisiana and to New Orleans. So when I landed in New Orleans, I was freaked out. I knew nobody. And I was thinking, how am I going to survive here? And it's a yaw, it's all Southern accent as well. And then I went to the school. A teacher grabbed me saying, I have a math problem I couldn't solve, and you Asians are great. So put me into the math classroom, I couldn't do a thing. So that also is very embarrassing. So anyway, in that situation, you really struggle. When you come across culture, you struggle more than ever. So I was thinking about, struggle story really connect me with people. So I started to think I need to test it out scientifically, otherwise I can never publish in the Nature. I still couldn't do it. So we did this, and we measure. So we randomly assigned the students into several conditions. One is that they're reading Einstein's struggle stories, like how he was rejected, and how his work was not at all accepted immediately, and how people attack him. And Marie Curie has to test thousands of pounds of miracle minerals in order to finally find the elements that's radioactive and stuff like that. So that's one group, and the other group randomly assigned 400 students into another group is reading about Einstein stories. I mean, the successful stories, how great he is, what a great discovery he has done, and why is that important to the human beings and all that. And so lately, we're also testing these conditions versus brain growth. That is Carol Dweck's condition, which is show you the brain, how your brain is built, and then the more difficult, challenging stuff, you challenge your brain, you become smarter. So we're testing these different conditions and versus scientific methods. So I will talk about that quickly too. So these are our measures. We measure some behavioral measures to see, first of all, grades. This is what teachers care the most. So if you destroy the grades and if kids did worse after you go to their classroom, they said, don't come here. So anyway, I saw 5 minutes sign. So I'm not going to show you these graphs, but just trust me, we have a data, we published it. And I have my article over there. Anybody interested, I'll give you an article. So I'm not going to go there. So anyway, we found that in the 6 weeks of our experiments, students, science, the grades in a marking period during the 6 weeks of our experiments for the struggles condition did significantly better than the other group. As a matter of fact, that the control groups even did worse than they first came in after they read a successful story. And then we also found it did not just come through like that easily. You have to be personally feeling connected to the scientists in order to get higher grades. So if you just feel this is just somebody you and doing that, I have no personal connection, that doesn't work either. So we did a mediation analysis. We find that feeling connected to scientists as a person really matters. So now I'm skipping all these data. Okay, it's not because I don't value data, but no time. And so lately, we also compare, I said 3 conditions. We found something, brain condition and a control and all that. We also found something interesting. We gave students some this story exercise saying, what did you remember about the video? You can just glance over. I also have the video. I don't have time to show you. And then I asked them, so what challenges do you think you have? From my naked eye, we're still going to analyze. I found that people who are in a struggle story seems to be able to identify specific challenges in science class rather than just saying, I'll work harder. They have more specific areas they seem to identify to work with compared to the brain area. And the brain knowledge group seems also very interesting. They're looking at other things not related to science class. They say, I will manage my time better. And the control group is very general, saying things, I will memorize the table and stuff like that, and chemistry tables, things like that. But I'm still testing on that, coding, all this stuff. So, where am I? Okay, so these are the different conditions that I don't have to. So what surprised us is that I think that these old and dead people and the students can still connect to. So we can still get them alive, and the AI has a great potential to help us to make a dead scientist alive. And then also we find that the sharing struggle really connect people, and as I hypothesized earlier. And so what can educators really take away? I think that teachers could start telling their stories, but that's tricky because teachers are supposed to be a God figure that how could you have failure? But once you start to build a rapport with the students, sharing failure might be very interesting because I do share my failure in my lab. And another thing is that I think that we really need to bring the humanity into the science rather than treating science and math like no human is ever involved in there. If you ask them who created knowledge, they may think it's from alien. And so we have a lot of my whole lab, a lot of people, my students are doing different studies here. I won't go through them. And then this is my lab. has people doing all this stuff, and I'm looking for yet another postdoc. And so if any of you guys have any leads, let me know. And so what's next? So I really want to study more instructional science of failure education and creating instructional activities, and to really test out in greedy detail that what really can happen, in what time it can benefit students. And so this is what I think. We really need a theory about how students conceptualize failure. We have incredible, probably over 50 years of research on students' theories about competence intelligence. We have almost zero about how they think about failure. That's the other side of yin and yang. So if we only study the yin, didn't study the yang, I don't think we understand the whole thing completely. So we need a great theory and a take home, no pain, no gain. If you haven't paid and you just know you haven't done anything. So thank God to the NSF. Thank you so much.